Hey y'all, my name is Katie, and today I'm going to be attempting to paint some Kodamas in the treetops. Feel free to paint with me, and we'll try not to screw it up too bad. And if we do, we'll have a drink ready to make us feel better. So grab an age-appropriate drink, and let's get to it. So for this painting, we're going to need 5 colors. We need titanium white, cadmium yellow medium hue, burnt sienna, phthalo green, and phthalo blue. I also have water, cup for my dirty brushes, my water, a nice drink for me, some palette paper, just cheap Artist Loft palette paper. You can also use saran wrap that's taped to the table, or a paper plate or something as well. And then acrylic paper. I think I just have Strathmore. And then we'll need 4 brushes this time. An inch wide brush, a 1/4 inch brush, a detail brush, and then this time I have an extra brush, and that's just for the dry brushing. You can also use your 1/4 inch brush or your detail brush. You just have to make sure they're dry. And then I have a palette knife for mixing paints, and then we'll also need just a napkin, and that's it. All right, so first things first, we're gonna have to mix our colors. We'll take our titanium white. Only do like a 1/4 size amount. Take our cadmium yellow medium hue. Oh, she's almost out. Oh, well, we'll get whatever we can. And then our burnt sienna. It's probably going to be a dime 1/4 size. That's fine. Phthalo green. We also want about 1/4 size of that. And phthalo blue. This one's not even open. We will put that away, get our actual phthalo blue, and do like dime size. That's fine. Then we'll get our palette knife. What we want is 2 shades of green, dark and light, 2 shades of brown, dark and light, 2 shades of blue, dark and light. And we want enough to be able to do the sky, the trees, and the tree trunk. So we need a fair amount. We'll start with our green, our dark green, and we want it to be like earthy. Phthalo green is kind of like a tealy, so we don't want it to be too teal. So we'll add brown and probably some phthalo blue, unless this turns out okay. And then never mind, I lied. It's a little swampy. It's not too bad. That's actually fine. That looks just fine. So then we'll do another green, but this time we'll do white and yellow, and this will be our lighter value for the leaves. And that's a little minty, so we also want to add a little bit of brown. Just like a fly, little fly. A little bit of brown. Hopefully this doesn't screw it up too much. And we want it to kind of look like lighter value of this color. So whatever it takes to get there is what we will do. And again, we want a fair amount so that we have enough to cover our trees. So I'm going to add a little bit more green in there because it also looks not quite as green as I want it. And you can also add phthalo blue if you added too much yellow, and that'll make a really nice green. We still will add a little bit of phthalo blue in there just to spice things up. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. All right, and then we'll also do the trunk. I'm not going to bother to wash off my palette knife. I have like a cat hair in there. It's also a fun thing to add, a little personal touch, if you will. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. This can be our lighter value. This burnt sienna is like super red, so you want to make sure that it's not quite as red. Maybe a little bit blue in there. Just tone it down. Tone it down a little bit. A little notch. Yeah, that looks less eye-gougingly pink, so that's perfect. And again, I'll use my palette knife to kind of just push it all into the middle so that I have a lot. Thing with acrylic paints is they dry really quickly. So if you don't use them really fast, they dry and it's very sad. And then here's my darker value for the tree trunk. And again, if we want, we also have this as our medium value, so we can have a little bit more than we thought. All right, yeah, that's good enough. And then we'll also do the sky. This one, I could probably wash my brush off, but meh. We'll just see how it turns out. I'm sure I will regret this later, but you know what? It's fine. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's very, like, chill, very calm blue. I like it. All right, so this looks like our lighter value. And then for our other one, we'll just add a heck ton of blue and maybe a smidge of white, maybe a little brown. We'll see how it turns out. Yeah, we want to tone it down a little, so we'll do a little bit of brown in there. And then we do want a fair amount. And the thing is, this phthalo blue is super thin, so you just want to make sure that you have, like, white makes it a little bit more opaque, so that you're not just having to do layer over layer over layer. Yeah, that looks fine. So dark blue, dark green, dark brown, light brown. Should be enough to get us through. So now we can move on to the painting. First things first, we're going to take our drink and we're going to drink. Perfect. Maybe another one. Now we're perfect. Now we can get started. All right, so I'll take my inch brush, dip it in the water, dip it in our darker green, swirl it around a little, and then we'll make our first little, like, hill. And this is just like, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can see that's a nice green. You don't have to go crazy with it. It doesn't have to be, like, super thick. It can be a little translucent because we're going to add more layers to it. So we just want to kind of get an idea of where we're going to put everything. And then we can start actually adding details. But it's also helpful to have a little, like, bottom layer. And then you can build on from there. All right, so we got our first little hill. We'll do another little hill in the background. This is where our other trees are going to be. Again, if it's kind of like super dry like that, I'll just add a little bit more water from my water and add some more. Perfect. And then without washing my brush, I'm going to take some of this darker brown. We're just going to put where we want some of the trees. In nature, it's all not going to be uniform, so we want to make sure it's not, like, spaced out exactly like I had it. And then we'll do our big tree. We don't want the trunk to be too big. I think I made it a little too big, but that's okay. And then we can branch it out from there. And then make the trunk a little thicker too. There we go. Maybe have another little branch right here. And yeah, again, it's just like a guideline for where we're going to put things. And then yeah, with trees, they're pretty fun. We will use the sky to kind of fix our mistakes. So this is just like free form, just have fun, have a little drink if you want, no problem. We'll also put where our little bushes are going to be because this is a forest. So we just want to make sure it's all covered. So we got trees, the leaves, the canopies, a little water in there. And then our main tree, which is this girly. And we want to give her her proper debut. So make her nice and fluffy. I just do a lot of like X's, a lot of little X's. And then we'll also take our lighter green and start doing X's in here too. And don't worry too much about anything. You don't want to cover all of the dark green. but you want to do, so the light would probably go this way, so you want to do most of your light green up more at the top left-hand corner. And then you can do a couple in here too, but just not, you don't have to like cover everything. And then we'll make sure it's a little bit over here too, so it looks like this is overlapping the trees over there. And that is good enough. We'll wash our brush off, grab our drink, take another drink. Perfecto. All right, so now we will wash our inch-long brush off and then make sure it's dry. It doesn't have to be completely void of this green color, but for the most part, we want it to be pretty cleaned off. And then we'll take our darkest blue, put it up at the top, and then we'll start going along the top part of our painting. Then we want to just go back and forth. If you go all the way back and forth, you don't want to stop in the middle because then you get these little like watermarks. So we want to go all the way across the canvas until we're over here, and then we can kind of do that, but then we can, you know, buff it out a little. And then we'll take our, dip our brush in the water, go to our lighter blue, and kind of start tapping it in these trees, just wherever the white is. You don't have to go all the way. You don't have to cover the white completely. You don't have to worry too much about it overlapping your other things that you've just painted, because we'll fix them up, don't worry. And then, yeah, we'll just make sure that this covers all of the white that we have. Again, if you forget a space, don't worry. We will be back. We will recover everything. And like, that's good enough. That's totally fine. And then we will keep sweeping it back and forth across the page. And then we'll probably dip our brush again in the water and just take it up to here into our darker blue. And then we'll take this darker blue again and sweep it back and forth down into our lighter blue and cover up this like thinner area that we have right here. And just back and forth, back and forth. If you find that it's all just merging together how you don't want it, just wipe your brush off on your napkin and keep going again. And that'll help it blend a bit more. And yeah, if you have kind of not a lot of paint here, just take your lighter or your darker blue and keep sweeping it back and forth up. And we'll go into this tree a little bit. There we go. And then one more time, we'll do a little bit more blue up here. And yeah, I don't really like wash my brush off a ton. I don't really wash, like wipe it off a ton. For the most part, you can get away with it. It's just like if you're changing in between colors, or like if I was to do a sky and I was doing clouds, I'd probably wipe it off. So it's not a big deal. Then we will put our inch-long brush in the water, take another drink, take our 1/4 inch long brush, dip it in the water, and we'll do the dark green. So this, we want to kind of wait for this paint to be dry. If you kind of tap it and it doesn't come off on your fingers, it's pretty dry. So then we will take our dark green and start doing our main tree a little bit. And this again is just like little X's. And we're just trying to do wherever we have shadows. And here's also where if you were like, oh, I just totally painted over with the blue and I really want it to be, this tree to be fluffier, then now's the time where you can reclaim that space. And yeah, we'll just keep doing little X's, little X's. And don't be too nervous about you know, not like, you know, going over the sky or, oh no, that's not exactly what I wanted. Like, again, we're just gonna keep layering, keep doing our thing, and it will look amazing. It's always trust the process. I've been seeing that a ton. And I mean, it's true, but I've seen it like a ton. But again, you can see it's coming together like a tiny bit. And also you can see how much dark green we needed. I honestly probably will need more. And then I'll also do some over here where I want some nice weeds and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna need to make more dark green. So again, I'll get my palette knife, make sure the blue is mostly off. If you don't, like, it's not a big deal. Green. Oh, this is our tree brown. Oops. Brown, blue, yellow. I think that's what we used. We'll see. I like to mix it where you can still kind of see part of the colors so that you can kind of match it to that as you're mixing it. And that helps me match it to make it like almost exactly like it. And if not, I mean, you know, trees have all different colors of leaves, so don't worry about it too much. And then, yeah, that's close enough. Put that back in the water. And we'll take more green. And again, we'll do where we want some leaves. Because again, this is a forest. So I painted a couple of murals. And whenever I do, I actually always watch Princess Mononoke. So this has been like a huge influence for me. And I love the forest. I love it. So I always really like just that art style. So I was like, yeah, this is a great one to paint. And then, yeah, for these, what I do for grass is I'm just going to kind of plant my flat brush and then sweep it up. And just do, it's like a check mark. And just the end part of that check mark, that's what we're using for the grass. And you want it to be like one way, another way. Like grass is not going to just be like a line, line, line. It's like line, line, line. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's shorter. Sometimes it's like just a patch of grass and you can do little lines out of it. So yeah, just like have fun with it. If you're concerned, take your drink, and yeah, we're here to have just a good time with it. And as you can see, it's kind of forming into a little grass patch, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. And then here's some bushes, so we'll do more little taps of our darker green. Darker green. And if you want to not do more trunks, I just cover it with all the brambles so that we don't have to mess with it. And we'll add a little bit more to this too, because that was a little thin. So yeah, we'll just add a little bit more. And yeah, no stress. We are going to just redo a little bit of this later with our blue. The only thing I would say is that you don't want your blue to dry out. So if you didn't mix very much, I would either mix more or I would add some water to it. And you can do this with, like, if you have a little squirt bottle, or if you have just water from your brush or your palette knife, get some water on there and like mix it back in. Whatever you want to do, whatever works for you, that's the best thing to do. And then we will cover this. I would make sure I can kind of differentiate between these two, but we're going to add some of the lighter green over here so that it will be more obvious later. And there we go. Beautiful. Looks beautiful. Okay, so we'll just wipe our brush off on our napkin, take our lighter green now, and do more X's in here. We'll do the background trees a little bit first because I want this background tree to finish a little bit since it's going to be covered by this other tree. So we just want her to shine as she should. Beautiful. She's beautiful. And you can also make like one of the trees bigger, or, you know, just have fun with it. Nature is not all uniform, so whatever it takes to make it look a little bit individual is how to do it. And we'll add some to the bushes. And again, it's like probably more on top, like the lighter stuff on top, and then some in the background because the light is coming down from up top. So we want this to reflect that. And then we'll do just some here as well. Sometimes I do this just to keep track of what I'm actually doing, because sometimes it's hard to tell. We'll probably honestly redo this when we do the tree trunk, but you know, it's good to have. It's good to have. And then we'll do some grass this way, and that's what we'll use to differentiate these two. There we go. We'll just do that right now. All right, we'll wash our brush off. Actually, no, we won't, because I forgot that we haven't done this main tree yet. Perfect. And this too, I would say sometimes you want it to clump a little bit and then kind of fan out from there. If you just kind of go over the top of all your shadows or something, it's going to look a little strange. So you want to just kind of, again, make sure that since the light is hitting here, most of your lighter leaves are on like the top of the tree. But make sure to bring it down a little bit sometimes. Even in the darker areas is fine. Just make sure it's very like loosey-goosey, and that will be the key. And again, if there's any area that you don't like love, no worries. We are going to shape it with our blue in just a second, so you will be all right. And if I have any white areas as well, like any more areas that I can see canvas, right now I'll use that time to cover it up with the green. All right, so that's starting to take form. Looks like shit right now, but you know what? In a little bit it won't. All right, we will wash off our brush, wipe it on our napkin. Mine's getting very wet. Add a little water to our dark brown now. And then now we'll do this trunk. So we'll paint it on real thick. I made this mistake, and I'm just gonna try and go around this one, but it's fine. And then we'll just go where we kind of put our little outline at first. With trees, you really want to make sure that as they go up, they get thinner and they don't have a thin base and then all of a sudden just fan out into something massive, because that doesn't look very natural. So kind of what I did right here is just it like goes out, so I'll just make the base a little bit bigger. And some of it is covered by this leaf, which is fine, but then I'll just make the roots a little sturdier so they look like they can actually support this tree, because otherwise it looks a little funky. All right. And then we can also do, so I would choose places that logically have a little tree coming out. Like right here, there's some light area and the tree is going up. So right there, this one could be branching out here. So right there, and then this one is coming through these trees, so something like that. And then same with these in the background. My inch brush is super old, and so now it's like, it makes a duck face. If you can see that, it splits. It looks really bad, and it works really bad. So it's best to work with stuff that, you know, maybe is a little better. But, you know, you'll pry it out of my cold dead hands, so. All right, and there we have some of that, and then we'll go to our light color. And we can, so this tree, I'm just going to do a little loop right here because I want it to look like this tree is branching off on its own. There we go. And then we just do, I just do like shaky kind of lines. So honestly, this is where the wine comes in handy because you're like, whoa, it's going to look very natural. And then again, wherever I think the light is going to be hitting, and sometimes I will load up my brush, plant it, and then kind of like push it down and then pull it up, just so that that looks more natural. Yeah, this paintbrush is not doing very well. All right, I'm going to go over this leaf because I don't really care. It's not quite dry, so we'll grab some green in there, but I'll just add more brown. All good. And like they connect, they, you just want to make sure, again, the light is mostly here, and you just do some horizontal lines, maybe some diagonal lines, maybe connect some lines, make sure it's like a shaky line, and that looks more natural than really anything. All right, that looks cute. We can do a little bit on these, but I wouldn't spend too much time on them. Again, just little lines here and there. You can also do some on these branches because they're jutting out. Maybe use the edge of your brush, make sure it's a nice thin line, and just like drag it. Perfect. That is so cute. All right, so now we will wash our brush off completely, and then we'll take a little drink. Perfect. All right, wipe it on our napkin. It's pretty clear, it's fine. And then we'll put it in the dark blue first. Mine is a little wet, but that's okay. So we want it to be as dry as we can make it, but if it's not so dry, honestly, I would just wait for it to be dry because otherwise this is a nightmare. And then we'll kind of trace the outline of it. As you can see, mine is a little bit darker, so I'm just gonna sweep it into the sky. That'll make the sky look a little bit more complex too. And this is just for the top part, so you don't have to worry about it too much because then we'll go to the lighter blue and fix it. But yeah, you're just trying to make some dots in the trees so that it looks like the light is coming through the trees. And then we'll wipe our brush off. You don't have to wash it, and we'll take the lighter blue and do the same thing. And again, it's a little lighter than we want, but that's okay. We can kind of mix it on the brush. It doesn't work as well with acrylics as it does with oil, but you know, it's fine. It's always fine. And yeah, we'll just keep adding these little dots. And this is the time, if you have a chunk of leaves that you're like, oh, that did not turn out well, this is the time to just fix it up with this sky. And we will concentrate, we'll try and mostly concentrate to where the lighter blue is, or the lighter green, I'm sorry, because this darker green is going to be where our shadows are and probably the densest amount of leaves, but we can also add a couple in there. Because it's nature, it's natural, you know, it's not going to be just one size fits all. All right, perfect, looks good. And then we'll also do that with this one here. So any of the lines that I'm like, ooh, that looks really a little shaky, or if I want to clean up anything, now's the time. And again, this is overlapping, so I'll only do a couple here. Same with the bushes. I'll do a little bit with the bushes. and trying not to make them like completely circular or completely square or something. I kind of just did that, but yeah, if you make them all different shapes, then that looks very, very natural, very nice, very demure, very mindful. Yeah, we'll just keep trucking along, doing this. Yeah, boy. And then some in the bushes. Some in the bushes. You can also, if you like, I added way too much to that trunk. Now also is the time to cover it up. All right, yeah, that's looking better than I thought. Or maybe I've just drank too much. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in when it's done. Maybe the next day I'll look back and be like, ooh, never mind. All right, so yeah, that looks pretty good. Wash our 1/4-inch brush again. And now this stuff is dry, so a lot of times it's good to wait till it's dry because otherwise you'll just mush everything together and it'll become one color, which is a nightmare. So we'll take our lighter green, and this time now we'll do grassy parts. And see, this is also, my brush helps a little bit because it's got this little duck face. So sometimes the grass looks like, ooh, supernatural because it's, look at all that texture it has. But no, it's just because it's trash. And we'll do some for the leaves. We'll also get our detail brush and go over some of it too. So don't worry too much if you're like a little worried about it and you're like, oh, this brush is really big. We will get our detail brush. So, and again, we'll just go over now the trunk. And some over here too. So the grass in the distance, you want it to look more like you don't have to add as much detail, so you can add just like really quick, just like cutting, and that looks fine. But the stuff in the front, that's where you kind of want it to be more detailed, spend more time on it, kind of. Which is, it's always kind of nice because the background stuff is like real quick, real easy. You're like, oh, why can't it all be like that? But it can't, I suppose. And then yeah, sometimes if I'm trying to cover the canvas, I'll just like paint a rectangle of color and then I'll do little grass pieces like coming out of it. And again, I'm just using the side of my 1/4-inch brush. And this is also somewhere where you don't want it to just be like lighter, darker, lighter, darker, lighter, darker, like it's stripes. You want it to kind of have some light, some dark. Maybe it overlaps. Maybe it's like little patches at here and there. You don't ever want it to be just one note because then it doesn't look as natural. And we'll take our dark and we'll do a couple colors here too. And again, I'm just using the side of my brush, and you go back and forth so that all your grass pieces look individual and not just like one direction. We'll do a little bit here too. And this is like, if I see anywhere that has a lot of the canvas peeking through, that's where I'll... Ugh, this brush is just terrible. It's fine. It's fine. I keep telling myself that, but it's not. It's not okay. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Oops. And then we'll wash that. We will take our detail brush, dip it in this green, and now we'll start doing some of these just individual leaves. And this is where we can kind of, if there's like a huge splotch of blue that you did and you're like, ooh, that's not what I wanted, then now's the time also to cover that up. Or like here, I have this weird little hook that looks unnatural, so I'll just do little dots, too much dots, and make it look a little bit more natural. Oops, like that. Whoops, whoops. I'm gonna screw up the most here. And then, yeah, we'll just kind of, I like to follow where I have the light green already and kind of do a couple dots into the darker green. Or like if I have just a rectangle of color, then I'll use it now to break it up and make it look more natural. And especially if I, like where I had my, where I covered it with the darker blue, if it looks very blocky, I'll use this brush to kind of fix that. Beautiful. And then I'll wipe this brush off. You don't have to wash it, and I will do some dark ones now too, but I will make sure I have more dark than I do light on there. And same thing, I'm just going to make sure that this is shaped how I want it to be shaped. And I'll also use this dark to go a little bit into the lighter one, and vice versa. Just however much, if you add more, it does look a little bit more complex, which is nice. Same here on the tree trunk. If I have some splotchy pieces, then I will add some pieces hanging down right now. Same with where the trees, the tree branches come out of the foliage. I will kind of cover that up a little bit, because if they just like jut out, it looks a little weird. But if they gradually come out, then it looks better. And same down here. Just make sure it all looks like everything you want covered up is all covered up. And then same with the little tree trunks over here. And just make sure they're all nice and covered up. Over here kind of looks like a mess, so I will fix all that. Beautiful. Looks great. I think maybe, I don't know, we'll see. And then you also don't even have to have any blue over here, but it looks a little bit more legible, I think, so. Perfect, perfect. And yeah, if I have a really big area of just like blue, I'll do a couple pieces of this darker color as well. Same with this. If I need to fix and shape any of the leaves again, now's the time to just make them come together a little bit more. And grass too. We'll do a little bit for the grass. This one, it's a little harder. These detail brushes don't carry very much color, so you kind of need a lot. So it's a little bit harder. And then yeah, we'll just fix these bushes a little bit too. Same thing, just make sure that they don't look just like blocky, and add a couple of little dots in there to make it look like bushes. And then we're good. And we can also do a little bit of this darker green on this area where it looks like shit. Beautiful. It's really coming together. I do love painting trees. It's all very easy and fun. It's hard to mess up because you do overlap so much that it's just like, oh, it's fine. I'll just wait and do another layer and then it'll be all fixed. So no problem. No pressure, no problem. Sometimes if you think the circles that are coming through the trees are a bit too big, I like to use this time to cover them up as well. All right, that looks cute. Okay, now we'll do one more shade of green. Take our palette knife in this lighter green that we have. We'll add a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow. And we'll mix a brand new green. We can also add more green if this is like trashed, but all right, so yeah, that looks good. We don't need like a ton of it. This is just to kind of make everything pop. We'll take our detail brush, wash it off really quick. Again, you don't need to wash it off completely because it's got green on there, so it's fine. And we will take this lighter color, kind of go around, oops. See, it's fine. And see, I hate when the water just takes over everything. And we'll kind of do the outside of the tree. Again, not every place. You don't need to do all of it, just randomly. It's kind of just like the light is coming through. Some probably over here, probably on the sides like this. Just like that. And then we'll just keep doing little dots. Again, I would probably stay away from this area because this is just where it's like the stars are out and the light is hitting here. And that's where we want it. It doesn't have to be a ton, but enough to make it look kind of tied together. But yeah, I would focus mainly around the tree and some in there. And then, yeah, and some around these spots where the tree is open to the sky. Yes, yes, cute. And you can do some in the dark areas too, but just not like a ton. And then this area is looking a little sparse. We'll add some here. Maybe some here because that's where our canvas is showing. All right, that looks good. And then also we'll use this to detail our plants. I'll just kind of follow the plant. And these are like little bushes. We're not going to do individual grasses because that would be bonkers. And you want to do the plants going every which way. So some are like peeking over the tree trunk. It's like making a little teardrop. And then some are going down the little hill that we made. And then this is where this grass can be kind of stick out as well, make its debut. Again, I'm just going to do little slashes here, going this way, that way, every way. They don't have to be perfect either. There we go. And also same thing, I don't want to do just like one line, darker line, one line, darker line, because that looks a little unnatural, so I will put some in through here too. You want to do some clumps, some individual areas, some darker areas, like just vary it up as much as you really can, and that looks the best. And there we go. Some here, we'll do less because this is supposed to be in shadow. So you can just do like a line. And that looks good. That looks good. Do some pieces of grass right here. Some here. Some here. You know, everywhere. Every which way. Sweet. Looks great. All right. That's looking cute. Oh, and yeah, if it starts to get patchy like that, like you can see the canvas through, you just don't have enough water. So I would just add more water. Here we go. Do a little patch right here too, because it's starting to look a little bit much. All right, yeah, that looks great. All right, and we can also add a little bit to these trees, but again, they're in the background, so we don't have to add a ton. Just make them look a little bit more complex. If there's, again, any areas that you want to cover up, this is the time. But again, this is going to be like a night sky, so there won't be all that much light anyway, especially not over here. And yeah, I would concentrate on where you have this light blue because that means there's more light shining through these areas than otherwise. And yeah, maybe not over here. And then we can do some of the bushes as well. Some of the little bushes. And we'll do some over here. You can probably do the bottom of the trees too, because it's like, oh, it's like shining through so that it's all lit up. Looks cute. That looks cute. And you can do a couple pieces over here. I just like this green, so I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Perf. All right, so now we'll do our stars. First, we'll take a sip of wine. Great. Now I feel ready. All right, so we'll use our detail brush. We don't really need it. What we're going to do instead is use the back of the brush, dip it in the paint, and do little dots. And that'll give us perfect stars every time. The first dot you do is going to be bigger, and then it'll kind of lose paint as it goes. You can also dot it in like a big star and kind of dot it around too. You can wipe it off if you get some blue on there. Perf. Just stars on stars on stars. Beautiful night sky. That's what our little Kodamas are enjoying. That's the perks of living in the forest, right? Beautiful night sky. And you can do constellations if you like. I don't really know any constellations. This is the same where it's like you want to make sure that they're not all evenly spaced out or anything. This is nature, so they're going to be grouped together. They're going to be separate. They're going to be all over. And we will choose one to kind of, we will take our brush. Again, it doesn't have to be like the cleanest. We're going to just drag it through in a straight line like that. Make some of these stars sparkle. You do want to make sure your painting is dry, otherwise you can spill everywhere. Otherwise you will drag that painting through. And we want to make sure it's a little bit dry so that when we drag it through, we're not just like ruining our stars. All right, there we go. That looks super cute. And now it's for our final step, the Kodamas. So on my first try, I just did them white. They're probably going to be a little bit green. So we'll add some white to this green. for like a really light green. There we go. We'll get it on our brush. We'll make sure it's very thin tipped. And these guys are all sorts of shapes. So I'm just going to do a little, like a first, like a little in, I guess. And then we'll do a face like that. He's cute. He's a cute little guy. And then again, just a little body. And now a circle. And if your brush is like all over the place, I would wet it or wipe it off. Make sure it's more of a point, and then like roll it in the paint until again it's a point. And I'm just kind of letting them poke through the trees. Like that. And then I also didn't do, like they were just fully see-through. I think we'll try painting a little bit on there so that they stick out a little bit more. And we can just paint, like don't fully color them in, but we'll paint them like a little bit. And again, they're just poking through the trees. Some of them might just be a little face or something. Maybe a weird looking little face. Yeah, he's a special guy. He's a special little guy. It's just a little guy. Same here. We can do one upside down. He's having the night I'm gonna have. It's good. Yeah, he's cute. He's just a cute little guy. Some will be, you know, on the treetops, enjoying the night air. Let's give him some feet and some hands. He's having a great time. Look at that guy. He's just chilling. He's vibing. We'll do this guy, but give him a strange head. This one, just like have fun with it. All right. And you can add as many or as few as you like. We'll also do some over here. So again, much smaller. We'll probably just do a little circle. My brush can't even get that small. Again, just keep making sure your point on your brush is nice. There we go. Just a couple, just some little guys. Make sure they're having a good time tonight. All right, these guys are having a great time. Oh, I forgot to fill in this one. Perfecto. Looks so cute. And they don't all have to be facing out either. They can be upside down. They can be whatever you want. And they don't also all have to be going out of the breaks in the tree line. They can be just poking out everywhere. That's the fun of them. These definitely you want to do, since they're in the background, you want to make sure that they're a lot smaller than those ones over there. These guys, these are smaller. We'll make sure their little bodies are also filled in a little. You can give this guy hands too. He's having a good time. He's having a good time. This guy, I don't even know what's going on. I think this was a head. This guy too. We'll be able to tell a little bit better in a little later because we're gonna add the little faces, but all right, some cute little guys. And now our very final step will be to add the little faces. So we'll take our detail brush. I just need a little bit of black. So I'm gonna do this green and brown and add a little bit of this phthalo blue until it's a darkish color. A little more brown. So the brown and the phthalo blue make a black. The green I just had a lot of, so I'm like, why not? It is just going to be very green, but that's okay too, because I mean our tree is, the leaves are green, so add this darker brown. All right, that's good. So again, make sure our brush is very pointed, and we'll just do some little dots, and they all are like open-mouthed, which is cute but a little strange sometimes. And we'll just do little dots, and they don't have to have mouths either. They can just be enjoying the night sky. He needs a mouth because he is having a great time. There we go. Just again, little dots. Little dots. If you do mess up, you can just kind of wait for it to dry and then just paint it white again. No worries. Like, there's not a lot of pressure in this. Just for fun. And sometimes too, I will avoid doing the eyes if they're really far away and really small, or I mean the mouth, because they don't always need a mouth either. Yay, look how cute. They look like little frogs. Oop, he's got a really big, I don't know, maybe he's screaming at the sky. He's shrieking into the void. Aren't we all? Oops. And just, yeah, try and keep track of how many you have, because then you might miss them. All right, and then our final step, so I've seen these guys might like glow a little bit. They do in some of the scenes and they don't in others. So we'll take a new brush, make sure it's dry. You can use the same brush, you can do whatever you want, but we can kind of dry brush a shine around them. And what that means is we'll just get a little bit of paint on there and just kind of follow the outline of them and make them sparkle. You can do the same with the light too. If you want your stars to sparkle, you probably shouldn't use the green that I have, but just get like the tiniest bit of white on your paintbrush. See, sometimes too it's like too much white. You want to make sure you just have a little bit of white. And then just, yeah, follow the outline. And make sure that your tree is dry, because then it will just smear it. So same thing, we can just kind of tap around. You can see they all have a little glow. And again, I kind of want to do some shines on the stars as well. So I'll take a little bit of white over here. You can wipe it off on your brush too. You just want like the smallest amount, and then we'll just circle this. Sometimes too, if there's a lot of paint on here, you can just use the paint that's on there if it's dried. And those are like glowing. All right, and then there's our painting. Cute little Kodamas in the forest. Thanks for joining. And our painting is done then, y'all. If you have any questions or any ideas for future paintings, please leave a comment and let me know. If you had fun, then please like and subscribe for more paintings in the future. Have a good day and take care of yourself. Bye!